All right, folks, welcome back to our second of two matches on the day here. Overwatch PIT North America action coming your way. I'm LD, joined here by Hirix, about to get into LG.Evil versus LG.Loyal. A true tale of morality, of good, of bad. And of course, we got to root for the good guys here, right, Hirix?
I'm sorry, I can't. I've known LG.Evil for far too long at this point, and honestly, even if that wasn't the case, I definitely think LG.Evil is slightly stronger of a team, especially given the fact that we're starting things out here on Nepal. When it goes to Koth, I think that they have a little bit more of an advantage. But again, new patch, potentially some stuff could occur here. I mean, FaZe Clan just beat out Rise Nation. I didn't expect that, so we'll have to see. We do have actually Clown subbing in here for I believe VLAN, as we do see LG.Loyal needing that new sixth player, and that's gonna be Clown actually from LDLC, if anybody remembers him as well.
Is he from Europe?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why we're on East servers at the moment, is because he's playing from Europe as well.
Okay. So let's see how it works out. Worth mentioning, LG.Evil known for their Pharah Mercy on these control point maps especially. Not running it though. They're running the Lucio for a vest, and they do have Jake playing the Tracer, so is mixing it up here. He did eventually, but was a bit reluctant to do so in their last series where LG.Evil got knocked down in the lower bracket, but very confident in doing so now as he will start to carve a path through the back lines here. Finds the anti-grenade follow-up. Ube going to answer back though, lands a clutch hook, and will help to secure the point, which initially will be going the way of LG.Loyal. So first match in a best of 3 here, and off to a good start is the Loyal squad.
I'm surprised that actually happened because, I mean, Jake was finding the kills, and we saw Train in the back actually dealing with the shield pressure as well. And, I mean, if he had gone forward with the rest of the team, if they had actually executed with a little bit more aggression up to the point once that shield went down from Super Fluke, they might have actually been able to get a nice flashbang and maybe converted some kills for themselves. But now we do see Jake actually on the point. No one's actually coming over him. Over to him. He almost flips that point, and Ube now going to try to get in position to try to shut him down. And Pulse Bomb now at the ready for Jake here.
Jake hanging on to that, looking for a good opportunity. Brought to about 70 HP, has to commit the recall, so he's going to have to be more careful about going in. But the Nano Boost now activated. It's on to Train. Does have a Deadeye, but of course dropping Deadeye in this scenario is dangerous. Dicey at best. He's going to let it go. Makes it pay off. Actually just barely clipped the right. Looks like he was around the wall, but still finding the kill there. A double Deadeye kill. Make it 3 overall. He gets the flashbang. Just cracking up the eliminations now. Jake getting the cleanup and probably doing the heavy share of the lifting there at the end, but the McCree paying off nicely. McCree, not a hero we see too much of. Normally Soldier is preferred, but Train is making this McCree work.
I actually really like the McCree for this, especially on this particular map, because you do have the sightlines available, and on top of that, Train's just really good with it. But the flashbang is going to allow them to deal with the Lucio a little bit better, and as they're going to be sticking very close together, that flashbang will actually have a lot of value because they want to stick next to that Lucio. So he's going to be able to get a lot of stuns. We saw it just there, actually, as Train found 3 and a Sleep Dart coming out as well. We should see them secure this, but it's Super very low.
Uh-oh. Yeah, Super's like, leave me alone, I'm in my safe place, but no, not the case. Ube there is going to answer back with the hook, keeping the point for now in LG.Loyal control, 40-50. So early on, these LG.Evil teams, these LG teams, I should say, really locked in a knockdown, drag out bar fight. Very even so far.
And again, that flashbang, I mean, the McCree pick alone is just to try to deal with everybody that's going to be sitting on top of that Lucio, and he got a good one last time, but just not enough for his team to be able to hold out. They just fell really quickly, and a nice sleep dart as well. So despite a lot of great support and setup coming out, they still wound up losing that one. And now Soundbear coming out on the side of LG.Loyal here as Clown opens that one up, and Olba getting ready to go ahead with that tactical visor. I imagine he's going to want to use it pretty soon as the Soundbear is wearing out, and he's going to go straight into it. Avast getting pretty low here actually, and Nano Boost coming out, and he hasn't really been able to do much with it so far.
The Disco Cowboy getting to work here. Train finds many a kill, and now even chewing up Olba, staggering him too. They can really punish Hidan, who gets slept. Will eventually be charged by Super. Right as he wakes up, he takes a ride and he takes a nap, putting a lot of crucial percentage kind of for free in the bank, as they'll probably get up to like 70 plus before that first retake attempt comes. So in all likelihood, only 2 attempts available here for Loyal to take the point back. Evil looking really good. Nobody is contesting Train. I just want to point out he's been sitting on the high ground, and like nobody is going there. They don't really have a vertical here to punish him, so it's a shooting gallery really here.
And again, they want to stay close, so this has just been a very good pick, and Ube hasn't been able to deal with him. He gets Biotic, a nice flash coming out as well as Train lands 2 headshots there. He's able to find those 2 kills. Super Flute going to be falling as well to Train, and again, just uncontested up on this high ground. They have no one to deal with him, and he cleans that one up very nicely to secure that fight for LG.Evil. And now as it ticks to 90%, it's going to be a very desperate attempt to come back onto the point here, as Train actually is going to have that Deadeye available. They're going to put that shield in front of him so he doesn't get hooked out, and that is going to be coming out right now. Might be able to find 2 kills in the back.
Oh, close, but he also does a lot of damage to the Rhine shield. Now, jumping down, his Rhine charges in. Hammer gets dropped, but not much in the way of follow-up here as he tries to finish off Spree very low. Will be dealt with. Ube demacked, also finished off. LG.Evil, even the flashbang spinning headshot. Choo-choo! As Train leaves the station, getting LG.Evil off to a good start here. They now lead 1-0, and, you know, it looked a little shaky at first, but once they got control of the point, and he had the high ground, he just did whatever he wanted.
Man, Train got so fast on that. He was just anticipating that flash, and that's basically how you want to play that duel anyways. When you see that Tracer, you just want to wait for them to try to get up in your face, and as soon as they land that, or as soon as they do that blink, typically you don't see them double flashing often, so you just want to go for a quick flash and just line up the headshot, and he was able to secure that kill. What really kind of mattered to me was the fact that he was able to shut down, who was it? I think it was, must have been Ube, wasn't it? On the side there, who was just kind of stuck in the corner, and he was able to find that kill on a very tiny target to be able to give them that 2v1 advantage and find the easy kill onto the Tracer with that flashbang. And now moving into the second map, they're just not going to switch anything up at all. I mean, Vol going to be on the Roadhog here, and we will see if maybe they can get an early advantage. And Olba still on this Soldier here. I mean, really, finally now they're going to be able to have someone to deal with Train more than likely, but they still have a lot to do to try to contest him. They're not going to be able to get close because he's just, again, trying to take advantage of the fact that these guys like to run very close together. Flashbang coming out from him again.
The flashbangs have been instrumental. I mean, sure, he was finding solo kills, but now comboing nicely with the team. Vol will get 2 on the top of that. Train gunning down Cloud midair. Doesn't matter. He deals with the Lucio. He turns back for Olba, gets booped around a bit. Ube will hook him, but dies mid-hook. And now they can stagger heat on, or at least attempt to. He'll get the shield on the way out. Train wanting to dive that even farther, but won't overcommit. So coming into the next fight, the majority of their ults are ready, or at least above half, and getting close to ready. So LG.Evil in great position here to continue holding this point.
I actually really like that play from LG.Evil, and that's something that has been really strong for them, their ability to just disengage intelligently, where they're not overcommitting for anything. They come back, they get back up onto the point, get back into a good position, and they don't give anything away. And we do see the flashover coming, late shield onto Super Fluke, and now pulling back is going to be a kill from the Deadeye coming out from Train, and as he finds Hidan, and that's going to be a lot of the healing missing here from the side of LG.Loyal.
Yeah, he's often only getting the one hero Deadeyes, but a one hero Deadeye is really all you need in these fights. As long as he doesn't instantly die in return, takes a key hero out of the playing field and gives them the power play with which they're able to continue to hold the point. And the beautiful thing is they've got all their ultimates again, either ready or close to it. Nano boost, Rob 420, feels like, I mean, he literally did just use it at 75% of the way towards it again. Train a bit farther off the Deadeye, but even Jake is going to get back to a pulse bomb soon. So this next push ain't going to get any easier. It's got to come down to the grab. Spree lands a good one. Will they have the follow-up? They've got to deal with this Rhine shield. He comes in from behind, trying to flank them so far, not quite able to get the kills they're looking for, and they've got to deal with an Earth Shatter soon. Olba gets hit by the hammer. He gets slammed, now rammed into the wall, finished off by Super as well. LG.Evil continuing to hold, continuing to dominate, and they couldn't take that fight with some big ults ready on their side. Not Loyal have to do it with most of them being charged.
LG.Evil so consistent with their roster. I mean, Super has always been a playmaker for them on this Reinhardt, and he definitely just showed up there and making a big one. We will see the nano boost ready for Rob, but other than that, there's not really a lot of options across the board either for either team. Super Fluke definitely going to try to make an Earth Shatter play of his own, as he's actually getting down pretty low. Barrier up for Super and very high, so they're going to have to try to get around him if they want to make the play. Earth Shatter going to come out though.
Will Super Fluke get the follow-up? Team is cleaning up. Looks like the Lucio either going down or going to have to make a long trip back towards Babe. They're trying to stagger in here and stall as long as possible, bouncing around from wall to wall. It's going to be a bit faster with every step, but eventually will eat the sleep dart. Now Avast is going to get staggered. Still though, you're 99-5, so it's a lot of fights you have to win if you're LG.Loyal to get back on this stage.
Oh man, they just embarrassed Avast off the stagger, just as bad, if not worse, than what Hidan had in the last one on Village. But now here on Shrine, we are going to be seeing LG.Loyal try to make an attempt to come back here as they're at about 20% as opposed to the 99% we saw LG.Evil accumulate. And again, this is one of those points that, at least in recent history, is very easy to defend. It's very hard to actually steal this away from another team, and now it looks like we're going to be seeing LG.Evil try to compose themselves and jump in.
They'll try for it now, making the move forward. Super Fluke with the Earth Shatter ready, but he gets slept. He could be dealt with by Train. No, going to back away. Looks like they will be resetting here. So LG.Loyal continue to hold this point, and doing so with minimal ultimates committed. They'll have everything ready aside from the nano boost for the next fight. So that gets them halfway there. 1 or 2 more 1 fights, and they will be able to take stage 2 and put it back to a 1-1 score in good position. And, you know, as you mentioned, not the easiest point to retake, and I think McCree, as far as DPS goes, one of the hardest to retake with, just because he is so immobile and easily flanked. You can see Ube looking for that hook, but not going to find it. Was ready with the flashback, now unloads the Deadeye. He eats the Earth Shatter, though. Its elbow comes in from the side instead, bringing him down, lobbing in the pulse bomb. Isn't going to stick on anyone, but still the point is theirs. If they win this fight at 80% plus, potentially they just win the map straight out. We might need to see a swap. Train is going to walk it back as McCree. Still the point being controlled by the Loyal squad. They got 1 push now, Evil. Not much in the way of ults to work with, though.
We will see a Vast with that sound barrier. That's going to be big, as Jake coming up with the pulse bomb, as well as that nano boost coming online as well. I mean, if
actually,
we see a nice pulse bomb come out, it's going to stick it.
Yeah, Super Fluke charging away. He tries to evacuate the point. Then the Hog ult comes through. Ube looking to push him back. Hedon about to get a nano boost. Could drop it at a critical moment here and throwing it out. It looks like onto the Zarya of Spree. Spree does have good energy. If they don't deal with him soon, he could be a real problem. Just microwaving Bull, but he gets hooked. He will be dealt with. Point potentially being recapped at the buzzer. 99-99. Whoever wins this fight will win the stage. It could be a long, drawn-out fight, but it's looking like Evil are going to take it. Pulse bomb for pulse bomb. Rein for Rein. Back and forth they go. Ube with the last-second swap, trying to get on the Sombra and get on the point, but it's too little too late. Evil now up 2-0. A great retake in the end.
Looks like we need a pause before we go into this next one, but LG.Evil, yeah, nice retake to be able to get back onto that one, and really good performance, I believe, actually from Jake primarily. And wondering what they need to pause for at the moment. But still, I mean, Jake coming through on that Tracer, landing that initial pulse bomb, and then Train with the follow-up kill, able to find that first opening pick, and then Sound Barrier giving them that slight edge that they needed to be able to go ahead and jump in. A nice Earth Shatter came out there from Super as well. And honestly, I think that really kind of set everything up well. It just worked very fluidly for LG.Evil to be able to slide in. They took out both tanks very quickly, and then really it was just kind of trying to take down those last couple of supports that were left. I mean, Hidan was in the back. He got pulled away by Train, who was kind of zoning him off as well, and then Jake came in to help support that kill. And again, just working very fluidly, and I think that's why LG.Evil is so efficient, is that they're able to get that communication and just make things like that work.
So we head to our next map now. Stage number 3, 2-0 advantage for LG.Evil. Any adjustments? Do you want to see a hero swap for LG.Loyal? Do you think it's just more like their focus as far as who they're going for first here? Why is it not working, and what do they need to do to change?
Well, for this map, what you'll typically see is actually a triple tank setup, but we are going to be seeing some swaps actually occurring for LG.Evil. And in the past, actually, I guess sort of up until recently a little bit, but in the past we've seen LG.Evil kind of struggle here on Sanctum, as we typically see Jake on the Genji, and teams have sometimes found ways to deal with him on this map, as he isn't able to find the spacing that he needs to actually make things work. But the triple tank standard composition coming out from LG.Loyal, as Oba actually going to be on this Soldier. This is exactly what they need to do in terms of the composition, at least. Now all they really need to do is make sure that they're trying to shut down Vol on the front line, trying to win that tank battle a little bit, and then finding that spacing. But it's going to be Super Fluke falling, and that's not a good start to winning the frontline battle with your main pillar tank going down first kill.
Well, that was an awkward start to the fight. Both Hogs missing their hooks, both Rhines missing their charge, but Jake finding the openings in the chaos with a good pre-fire around the corner, gets the second elimination there. Now turning on to Spree will bring him down to taking that Zarya energy out of the equation with that LG.Evil. Already holding the point now, fast on their way towards some big ultimates. Train, in fact, already has a tactical visor. I was focused on Jake, even tunnel visioning, but Train doing the heavy lifting here. Again, it seems, as with the more open map and less real opportunities for the McCree to come in and find flashbang kills, he's going to switch to the longer range option here, the Soldier. But this next fight won't be easy. LG.Loyal, they do have a nano boost. That's
actually potentially a bit more if they can get a grab. Could be big. Earthshatter not too far off. They move in, but so far not finding the picks.
And Train actually getting ready to go ahead and pull out that Tac Visor. He's going to swing around, and we will see him open that up more than likely against Olba. He's going to be forced back. He's not even going to use that, and forcing out the health pack. That's going to be Jake once again getting ahead in this duel and taking Olba down very low, and no one, Hiden didn't even turn to support him, and Hiden's going to be taken out by Train as well.
Yeah, Train just comes in while they're busy looking at Jake. They start to turn their attention away. They let Jake live. They also don't get the kill on Hiden either, or sorry, on Train either. And now all ultimates available for LG.Evil as we look towards what could be map point. Up 2-0, leading by 70%. It's really now or never. You lose this next fight, that means you likely have no ultimates going in to a desperation stagger onto the point. So, Loyal, time to make some plays against your brethren here, but they're walking into the Train. Tactical Visor with the nano boost. He finds 2. He's looking for more. Super also helping out. Good grenade from the Ana will help secure it. They stagger Olba. Direct hit with the Helix Rocket, and that secures the team wipe. Yeah, they use most of their ult, but they have a Rhine Shatter. I don't even think Loyal will touch the point.
Yeah, they shouldn't be able to. They're going to put some pressure on Train, but they're going to fall back. And yeah, I have to agree. They're not going to be able to get on the point. Spree actually gets Earthshatter down. Earthshatter coming out from Super Fluke, but that's going to be it. 3-0 for LG.Evil in dominating fashion to close out as well, as Train making a lot of plays here for the team, LG.Evil.
Yeah, you know, when they were running Jake on the Pharah, I tended to tunnel vision on him a bit, focus on him a lot. Kind of similar to Hydration was often given the setup, the guy to keep your eyes on and the playmaker, but Train, normally the Tracer player, at least in their previous compositions, now showing that he can play more of those like stable DPS heroes as well, the McCree, the Soldier, dominating performance from him. Nobody really contested him at all. And so as we go to our second map, I guess the question becomes here, do they need to pick a composition that's like focused more on Train? Can they get away with something like that? We'll have to see, but this does not seem to work at all.
The problem here is that LG.Evil also has a pretty solid dive that they could pull out, and they know how to play against the dive quite well as well. I mean, the only struggle that they've really kind of had in the past is, you know, occasionally dropping maps. They dropped an actual series to Rise when Rise was coming out with a dive, but they've been able to kind of pull things together. I mean, really, it's just been Selfless and Rogue that have really kind of shut LG.Evil down so far. So I think LG.Evil, no matter what map comes out, they should be able to contest here. I mean, we've seen them on pretty much all the maps. We haven't actually seen them on King's Row, which is going to be the next map that we do wind up seeing. And LG.Loyal have done okay on King's Row. We've seen them actually able to put up some points on the board against Rogue as well as CLG yesterday, but CLG, of course, took that match. I think LG.Evil should be able to close this one out. Again, just the ability to find space for Train to just make those plays. That's all they really need to do. That's all they did on this last map here on Nepal. And if they can continue that, Jake making a couple of plays himself, then that's going to be it. LG.Evil should be able to plow through this King's Row map.
All right, so we're going to King's Row. As you mentioned, choice of side and map is both for LG.Loyal. They elect to attack first, so LG.Evil going to be assuming the defensive position to get things underway. Second time we've seen King's Row today, and that high ground has been really imperative. We saw when the high ground wasn't contested, Soldier can just completely dominate, take over, so I wonder if there's a little more emphasis placed on it in this particular showdown, but high ground so far really has been king on point 1.
Yeah, Zombs, of course, making the most of that high ground, and that's a big reason why FaZe Clan were able to battle back into that last game. And then now in this series, we've seen Train establishing himself on the high ground and getting a little bit of a positional advantage to LG.Evil, and that kind of gave them a huge lead, a huge advantage in Nepal. And if they can continue that again here onto King's Row, then they're going to be in a great position to win this one out. And now Train actually going to be back over to the Soldier, with Jake actually going to be going over to the Tracer. And we do see that 2-2-2 coming out for LG.Evil, and more than likely a triple tank coming from LG.Loyal, as this is what they've been consistently playing. Again, they have two players that are pretty solid on Roadhog, so you'll more often than not see a Roadhog coming out from them. Sometimes actually even on some of their dive comps as well, that they've been pulling this out with a 2-2-2. But nonetheless, we will see them going with the triple tank here to start things off in their attack.
All right, so triple tank it is. Now we've seen, Reaper today. There are heroes that historically have been considered very good against tanks.
Also the Zen that potentially you could swap to, but if you're defense and you lose that first fight, you're probably losing the point before you get a chance to swap. So at that point, you're doing it during the streets phase. As Jake will start things off again on the Tracer train, as we talked about, going to be controlling high ground. As the soldier, and with triple tank, they could all walk up to high ground, but nobody's diving him. And so Train will likely know if that push is coming and, you know, can potentially just dodge away. They walk through main, at least to start. Maybe just straight on the point. More direct approach, at least for now. Could be in order, though. As I say that, LG.Loyal going to back off towards stairs. And it looks like they will be trying to take over the high ground before they actually contest.
And that's smart because, again, we talked about the importance of that high ground and what it means if Train can actually be in a position to take advantage of it. But he's actually just going to slide over and just swap. He's just going to swap sides, yeah.
Now he's controlling the high ground from the opposite side. Come over this way, guys, he says. He's going to fire a Helix Rocket into the window. So, yeah, they've gotten high ground, but they're not doing anything with it, at least not yet, Chris.
They are going to be jumping onto the point pretty soon here, and there goes the drop from the Reinhardt, and that it will signal this fight opening up as we do see Superpluke's barrier getting down pretty low. He's forced down a little bit, but does get the healing, does get the support, and Hidan actually almost taken out there in the skies as Train was looking for that Helix Rocket kill as he fell from the window. And again, both Reinhardts just battling it out on the point. Who's going to be the first to fall? That will basically be who wins this fight. Nano Boost going out onto both, though.
They do have a pulse bomb available. Ube cleanup. Don't think they'll need it. Superpluke got the Ana boost, but had no backup really to speak of. He'll go down. Now the Ana likely to get staggered. Pistol whipped once by the Tracer, and second time the Ryan to bring her down. So they hold. They will have attack visor next fight. They'll have a whole hog. They'll even have a pulse bomb and potentially a sound barrier. So plenty of tools in the kit here to hold a second time. And you know, a full hold, or at least holding until overtime, not out of the realm of possibility with the way things have been going so far today on Kings Row. This time, though, Hurix, they're going indoors, and they're going for the backstab onto the point.
Again, Tac Visor ready for Train, and he's just going to be able to pull that out very neatly. And they already find these kills. I mean, he didn't even need to pull that out at all. I think it was a little bit of a mistake, actually, for him to pull that out. They still find the kills. Ube able to find that last one onto Jake, and again, I mean, it's really just going to be Vol that's going to take a while to get back, but Avast should be able to get these guys back with the speed boost. I have to imagine, but they're still going to be a little bit of a disadvantage as they're not going to have everybody back into their best possible defensive positionings other than Train, who's again back in the backline. Oba taken down pretty low, forced to use his heal there, and the Graviton coming out.
Yeah, Train doing what he can from the high ground. No kills just yet. Clown actually going to bring down Bull. He's got attack visor Oba, so he can counter Train. He nails the Helix Rocket. Crucial kill to take Train out of the picture. It was only halfway to the attack visor, but could have still found quite a few kills. Now Avast looking to stall on the point here. He'll be slowly just melted by the Zarya. Will end up falling. So they end up capping. They've got a lot of Zarya energy banked up. Spree with a big ultimate there, and you know, we've seen it from him on this particular map, but defense in the group stage had 6 grabs on 1 defensive side. So Spree coming up big on Zarya on Kings Row when he needs to.
Absolutely, and Oba actually able to deal with Train on that high ground, but again, Train just putting himself into that position where he's going to be able to be above them, and they're not going to be able to contest him very easily because it's really just going to come down to Oba trying to win that duel, and he actually does wind up winning that one yet again here for the second time in a row, and that's going to give a nice 6v5 advantage as they find 2 more. And man, LG.Loyal cleaning things up here after that initial pick that came out from Oba. Well,
good job stalling by Jake there. He can get back around the time, probably before the team does. His heroes are just not respawning, so looks like LG.Evil will probably have 1 fight before the payload clocks through to checkpoint B, but they're walking in to a nano visor. Grav probably not available, but Earth Shatter likely is, so it's by no means an easy fight to take. And positional advantage should go the way of LG.Loyal as this payload continues to roll. Jake coming in with the pulse bomb. He'll get Oba, and he got Oba nice and early in the fight after committing the attack visor. Huge pick by Jake. Will the follow be there? Earth Shatter just clipping the Lucio. They'll get the Clown kill as well. The Clown is down, and with that, the push is over too. They'll have to reset.
Now Train will finally be able to get himself into a pretty solid position for this attack visor. I imagine he's going to wrap back around and try to get behind him to go ahead and take out these supports very quickly, and that actually is going to be the case as he's just going to try to shut down Hidan pretty early on, but not going to be able to find that kill. Going to give away his positioning in the meantime as well, and now Oba looking for an opportunity to try to take that kill, and he does actually pull that attack visor out. He's going to turn that shield and actually get shot out of the window off the back side, so they should be able to just run away from him here.
Yeah, Train regrouping with the team, going for this flank maneuver. So far not finding much in the way of kills after the attack visor's down. Everybody just hiding in the room, trying to abuse that new Lucio, but that's where Jake can look for the punish. Lands the pulse bomb, does a direct damage to kill Super Pluke, and a lot of incidental damage, bringing multiple heroes low, but not able to finish anyone off. They all heal back up. Lucio, so far, has been big with this triple tank composition, and now they cruise forward towards the point. Looks like they should get point B and be able to move through the final phase with a lot of time on the clock. Gonna be around 3 minutes, perhaps a bit more. That said, though, they commit, grab with the hammer, big Ana grenade coming out, and now the slicing, the chopping, the hammering begins in earnest. That is a Reinhardt's wet dream. Super Pluke will take it. A lot of ults dropped there, but hey, they don't want to get stalled at point B, and now on their way to point C.
Really, they just want to be able to cap this last point out, and they are still on pace to do that. I mean, they have 2.5 minutes to work with. They have the sound barrier for the next fight. They have Olba as well, who has been doing quite well against Train, actually trying to shut him down, and Train now swapping over to the McCree to try to get a little bit more support to that front line there, trying to go for a flashover. Super Pluke actually did have that barrier go out onto him, so they actually go for the flashbang, but it's not going to land. Super Pluke going to be taken out there by Jake and Train, and they're going to swing back around and try to give that little bit of control with the fact that they do have the barrier. Try to do something with it. Actually, Super coming off a respawn now, and Jake and Olba once again coming alive with that duo.
Yeah, now they're trying to work on Ube. They can stagger him. The payload not moving during this time. He gets a bit too far out of position. Backs away to the Rhine shield, though, and turns the fight as instead Vol will go down. So now down to Hog. Here comes the McCree ult. Mostly just a stalling ult. Doesn't look like he'll be able to do anything except chip away at the shield a bit. But he does delay them slightly, though. Nobody was standing on the cart, so, I mean, not even really delaying them. Now they'll need to rely on someone else to do the big damage here. Looking for the backstab. Few heroes turn purple. Jake does have a pulse bomb ready. Needs a stick, it feels like. Jumping in, lobbing the pulse bomb forward. Doesn't end up connecting to get any kills there as Ube rips out the whole hog for a moment there, but then gets stunned, brought back down to earth. Super Pluke closing in on the hammer. Will he find the opening to smash down through the defenses of LG.Evil? Still a minute on the clock and counting, so playing for that 1 minute on a second push here. Don't want to get pushed in overtime. With the breakdown already committed, that's going to wear off, and Avast will fall. Nobody touching the point, desperately trying to get back is this D.Va, is Vol as well, given the Ana boost on the cart, but taken for a ride, booped off of it by the Rhine charge. Not dead just yet, though. Super stalling on the D.Va as long as he can. Now Jake can get back into the cart. Not going to happen in time, though. 40 seconds left on the clock. They even were busting out the Train May, but map completed, so it'll be at least 1 minute here. Should LG.Evil manage to complete the map as we go to that second phase of pushing.
Olba actually did a fantastic job of dealing with Train on that map, and forcing Train off the Soldier was huge for them because he didn't really find too much value off of that McCree. I mean, we saw him taking a couple kills, but overall, the Deadeye isn't going to be able to accomplish much when you're sitting below and kind of with a pretty dangerous sight line. So really shut him down a little bit, and that was big for them, of course, because they were able to steal him away as well as the high ground from him, and Olba took advantage of that a couple of times as well to be able to win some of those fights. And LG.Evil really kind of needs Train in these fights with that positioning to be able to create those stomps that we saw on the last map on Nepal and Sanctum. But now we will see LG.Evil with an attack here, and I imagine we're going to be seeing a 2-2-2 coming out, which is going to be the case. Jake going over to the Genji, and of course Super are going to be on that Reinhardt, and that triple tank once again coming out for LG.Loyal, and certainly look for Train to try to steal high ground away, as that's been his signature so far that we've seen a lot of times. I mean, even looking back into their past with bird noises, I mean, going back to his days playing pretty much nothing but Reaper for a time there, and just always just above everybody, waiting to go ahead and spin those shotguns around like a helicopter, you know. But
the Beyblade days, how we missed them. Not really. back when Nano Boost gave you move speed, that was a painful time to be alive if the enemy Reaper had his ult ready. But
well, now with Deathball, you never know if it's going to come back. I mean, we've already seen it today. It worked pretty well actually against a stack on the Lucio, where he was just there to kind of separate everybody away from the Lucio, dissipate some of that healing potential that could have come out from the Deathball stack. So you never know. I mean, it might make a return. You never know.
Yeah, we didn't see like the full Beyblade in all its glory with like a grab or Earth Shatter and the Zarya shield on the Reaper, so you can't stun him into that combo. But that's certainly not to say it couldn't be coming back. So as you expected and mentioned here, Jake is going to be looking to take high ground here. It's helping to secure that for Train. He's the forward scout, just ensuring there's nobody up on the high ground. But in fact, Oba, he's down on the point. He's playing at statue. They punish this flank by shoving in the front door. Really smart maneuver by LG.Loyal. They know the DPS are busy running around behind them, so they take that opportunity for a 6v4 power play. It works. They get multiple kills. And now LG.Evil have to back out, reset. Something I think we'll see more from teams is if the whole team doesn't go high ground, the team that's holding at main really has to be careful about getting pushed in like that.
Problem here is that they're not going to have enough time to deal with Train, so he's just going to be able to slide back into this window here. Oba not going to be able to see him before actually Train finds that kill onto Clown to open things up, and now they're at a pretty strong advantage. And Jake coming over to help, finding that kill onto Oba, and look how close Train is to having his ultimate here, and they're still finding kill after kill. Look at Jake coming alive here.
Big nano boost, just dash, 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 and he continues to reset his way to victory. They don't use really anything aside from that nano boost, so all ults either ready or coming towards readiness in quick order. A very fast cap overall, as LG.Evil have plenty of time on the clock heading into the streets phase. For now, it doesn't look like any adjustments. Free, this was probably his strongest performance of the tournament, was on defense, on King's Row, in this exact area. I think he got 3 grabs before the enemy team finally managed to get 2-point B. Can he repeat that kind of just miracle Zari performance? Well, it's a lot to ask, but we'll see if Spree can deliver here.
Well, with the hooks down, with Oba unable to deal with Train up here at the moment, I don't think that's going to occur, as we do see ultimates coming out from both sides. Jake's going to be immediately taken out there as he pulls out his Dragon Blade, and that's going to be completely wasted, but Train just waiting out the tack visor that came out from Oba, as he actually got nanoed as well, and Hook being missed there. Train just narrowly avoiding each and every one of those. Tactical visor at the ready for him as he's looking for an opportunity, and he's not even going to change positions. He's just waiting to go ahead and get in that same spot, and Jake now coming around for that flank to be able to re-engage Avast with that sound barrier. Expect that to be introduced in this next fight.
Yeah, no vertical heroes right now on the defense. They can't really get into the window area to contest all too easily without a big flank, but here comes the Zarya, charging in, dropping the grab, big damage done, and a grenade, follows it up perfectly, and then piling on his super fluke, quick, decisive takedown. They hold the Earth Shatter. They have the nano boost, likely for next fight. And they continue to hold at Archway, which is the one place in the second stage where if the defense gets some momentum, it can be really tough for an offense to get out of this narrow choke point, especially when they're not particularly mobile. We're going to see Jake now on the Tracer looking to kind of open up a second front. He'll be moving through the flank and searching for a pickoff.
It's really down to Superfluke to get a really, really big Earth Shatter here if they want to be able to make this hold. The hook coming out onto Ube initially, that's going to take it down pretty low, force a lot of cooldowns out to try to save him. Super finding that kill. Superfluke going to be trying to look for an Earth Shatter as we talked about. Look at this, man. LG.Evil just running them over here. And again, Train able to hold on to that tactical visor, but a lot of other ults used there as Vol was actually nano boosted up with that whole hog, and then of course the sound barrier being pulled out as well to secure that fight. But look at the defensive side here. 5 different ults that are going to be charged up for the next one, as Oba should be able to find a nice Helix Rocket or some initial damage to be able to get some more, and that actually is going to be the case as he lands a Helix Rocket just as I said that, and he's going to be sitting at about 100% right now. So
lots of ults ready for the Loyal squad, but will they find the opening to combo them properly? Ube strikes first, bringing down Vol as the hog, and now with control of the cart in their wheelhouse, they're going to get a follow-up poke. It's on to Rob420, staggering him out of position. This probably buys them 45 seconds to a minute, assuming LG.Evil want that full 6-man group up and push. And in fact, they're going for the aggro defense, pushing past towards Archway, so no payload heal to work with for the offense. A bit bold, but could pay off if they are able to win a fight here. We'll see Jake's looking to set up a flank again. Pulse Bomb this time available. But if they wait too long, Spree might have another grab. And walking into the grab, Earth Shatter with the Ana Grenade, that is a very scary situation. He'll jump through, he gets the stick, he will get the kill on Spree, who I guess was trying to farm energy, didn't have the self-shield, and now Oba can unleash his Tac Visor into the Earth Shatter, nailing Super, drilling him down, now turning back. He'll also find additional kills through the window as he'll knock down and finish off Rob420. Clown, the only trade in sight for Train, who still has the Tac Visor, still has not found a good time to use it.
So despite the fact that Jake has been pretty solid in finding these opening picks, they just haven't been able to convert anything here. And now losing that 5v6 is huge. They have to go ahead and use everything now. Of course, they're at a severe advantage once they push in because they are going to be able to use 2 of their ultimates for this next one. And then they really only the option here for them is Spree with that Graviton Surge. And Train, look at his position in the back once again here. Going to be able to just unload this Tactical Visor into the back line. Hidan going to be dropped here more than likely, unless he can turn things back around, but that's not going to be the case. Train able to clean that one up, and with not a lot of time left, it looks like LG.Evil should secure the second point and move this payload into the factory phase of the map.
Well, now probably the hardest phase with the defense having such a close spawn to point C. As far as ults go, Sound Barrier available for Avast. And as far as the defense goes, they have the grabs. Free, no energy just yet. I'll be trying to farm that up before this next engagement breaks out. He pushes in quickly. No, scratch that. He's just going to rush onto the point. He will shield his own Ryan as he charges through, but still Super Fluke likely to go down. He eats the stick on top of the payload, gets massacred. Meanwhile, the Ana boost available is Rob 420 pushing forward, lands the grenade on that pig, turns him into bacon, and now this cart continuing to move. They win the fight flawlessly, really, and now no grab to worry about even coming to this next engagement. They grabbed, and then really, Herix, there was no follow-up.
And again, Train getting pretty close to that Tac Visor. I think that they want to hold on to this to try to get the Nano Boost onto it. And he's looking for an opportunity to get a little bit more damage to get himself up there. And Olba going to have one of his own for the next one. So trying to win out the barrier fight. Olba going to be able to get his ultimate up. But that's going to be actually onto Ube, who gets slept here. And they do manage to find the spacing to make sure that he gets out safely. And a nice hook on the ball.
Big hook following it up is Super, who does manage to find the Earth Shatter. Super Fluke brought down before he's able to unveil his. So now LG.Evil pressing forward, looking to slightly beat the time set here by their loyal comrades. As this cart rolls in, I don't know if there even will be a stagger. Super Fluke trying to get back to the point. Doesn't look like he's going to make it. Nobody inside of the cart. And so LG.Evil complete the map. 19 extra seconds to work with, which is, to say, not a whole lot of difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just going to come down to, again, that battle for high ground. We saw LG.Loyal taking a while to try to contest that, and then once they were able to get there on the first time, just didn't really work out in their favor all too much. So I think they're going to want to execute that a little bit more quickly, a little bit more efficiently to try to take Train out of that window where he's most likely going to set up. He might actually set up forward as well, as we saw him up there with Jake kind of towards the statue sometimes as well. But we'll have to see where Train sets up is essentially where the fight's going to want to be taken, because you need to be able to shut him down on the high ground in order to establish yourself on the point. And last time they did it, they basically just took all of the time that they had swinging around and just trying to push Jake off the point. And then he just swung around and found himself swapping sides a little bit and just going back towards that statue side for easy cover. And also just nice ability to find some damage into the back of, you know, Hidan and even Cloud to an extent. But Olba, of course, has shown that he has the promise and the potential to deal with Train, and if he can take him out, if he can win one of those fights and actually shut him down, or perhaps maybe even a play from Hidan or Ube, then maybe they have a shot here. But otherwise, I think LG.Evil should be able to close this defensive side out. We'll have to see what happens here.
All right, so Loyal back in the saddle, looking to attack. Only a minute to go. They barely avoided overtime, so a shot to take the map out right here. We'll see if they can pull it off as they start to push in. Already Jake, though, proving to be a bit of a thorn in their side as he pokes and prods from the rear, trying to slow things down again. Playing for time is a great strategy when you basically have one, maybe two pushes to get onto the point cleanly. Spree's going to charge in, self-shield, trying to finish off Bold. They'll get the hug nice and early. This could be a big opening, but raining down the pain from behind his Train, who did exactly what you mentioned of holding that back rooftop near statue. No one can test him. He does eat the Ana grenade, though. That might slow things down for him. Jake also got dropping, so really nobody to stall. It will be a clean take. And now, overtime push. How far will Loyal go?
And we mentioned how Train needed to be dealt with, and it had to come from one of those three guys, Olba, Hidan, or Ube, and it came from Hidan. He landed the sleep on Train to open things up, and that gave them a little bit of an advantage, and with Train forced to move, he wasn't able to engage. So for a very long time, actually, it was a numbers advantage in favor of LG.Loyal, which on this first point means a whole lot, especially when it's the soldier that's taken out. So that's a lot of the damage removed from the fight as well. So that gave them everything that they needed to move into this point and steal it away from LG.Evil.
Ults are available as the offensive Loyal moves forward. Most notably, Tac Visor very close to being completely ready to go. Olba hanging in the backside, though has to be worried about these flanking threats, and the first one's going to come from Jake, as now the Tac Visor gets unloaded. He gets the Ana boost as well, shattering the shield of the Rhine, but does he get the follow-up kills? So close to getting 3, he gets none in the end. They can all rotate around, heal back up with the Tac Visor out of the picture. DPS a bit lacking. Jake trying to stall. They just need to get heroes off the cart for a second, and they'll take this fight. Ube running indoors, but he swings around, unloads, and will find the kill. Big pickoff for him, but it doesn't matter. They're off the cart. They will be stopped here. And Evil now know how far they have to push that cart to win. A full-out 2-0 is possible.
3-4.
So we could potentially see this happen. I mean, not a lot of time to work with, but if they're able to clutch this first point out, I mean, all they have to do is win one fight, and that should be it. However, we did see LG.Loyal holding that archwave down pretty tight. So really, I mean, in order for LG.Evil to be the most fortunate, they really have to clean the fight up late or get a couple of staggers to force LG.Loyal to take a bad fight on the arches, or to just not be able to fight on the arches at all and try to get that payload through closer to the bar area if they can. Now, looking at the way that they're going to engage here, I imagine they're going to be sending Train and Jake along that side wall once again here to just try to get Train into that window. So we will see them fighting kind of late, probably about 20 seconds into the round actually starting, maybe 15 if they're able to get there quickly. It kind of depends if Avast actually follows through with Train like he did on the defensive side. But if they do that, then they're certainly going to be leaving a lot towards their front line, and I mean, LG.Loyal could take advantage of that and just press onto their tanks. I don't think they will, as you know, obviously it's up to the attacking side to try to set the pace of the attack, but nonetheless, I imagine that's what's going to occur here.
Yeah, so sticking with what's gotten them this far, triple tank, LG.Loyal, a full hold nets them a win, and else they're up against it, basically can't lose a fight in overtime, or Evil will have the time they need to push that card through with the long spawns. Early sleep, though, on Jake, but he's able to deflect. No one who can one-shot him from that distance, so it's not going to be a quick pick. Instead, it's Train getting hooked first. Disastrous start. Now they have to back off, and that is going to eat into their clock, their time bank quite a bit. They'll still have a minute, so maybe 2 quick pushes, but still, every hook is huge, and Ube coming up flush, at least for now, for Loyal.
And Train, again, LG.Evil's attack is completely based around Train getting into position. I mean, they have to execute off of his positioning. And with him taking so long to get there due to that pick that came out from Ube, they are going to be able to get him back into that back line, but he actually fell. So again, just more time taken out as Jake finally gets him there. And look at this, LG.Loyal actually doing the press here, getting right in the line of the tanks here. Ube getting pressured there by Jake and Train, and now they are going to be giving away a little bit of position advantage here to LG.Evil as they're forced back to the point. And now we will see LG.Evil running forward and contesting this. Oba needs to take Train out of the window, but he's really the only person that can, and his Helix Rocket and his Healing Field are both down now.
Whole team is alive. They really would need to get onto this point. Already 2 ticks completed, and stopping here is not going to be easy. They have an Ana boost available. Where's it going to go? Throwing out the heal. Hilden very patient with this, and finally will unveil it on Ube, who's been going to work with the whole hug, but he deals with Orion. Charging in. Hook is there. Finds Rob, but doesn't get the kill. Rob with the insta-grenade, able to keep things in fighting shape as Evil continue to press onto the point. Now Earthshatter available, and it looks like in overtime they cap. So now, do they get that one archway fight? That's the question.
They won't. They're going to have everybody coming off of that long spawn. We do have dead time for the payload, so they might be able to push it right after it gets out of the archway. But they have 3 people off of that long spawn, and we will see Clown able to get them there with speed. And perhaps we will see the fight happening soon after the arches, but they aren't going to be able to fight it with the payload in the arches, which is ideal for them. That's what they actually do like the most. And now going into this next fight, it's going to be basically pretty much down to the tank fight with Super and Super Pluke contesting for a nice Earth Shatter, and whoever gets the nicest one is going to be able to clean this up more than likely.
He who shatters hardest likely will win. First Earth Shatter coming through, but that counter shatter is there, and it's the better one. Alba dropping the tank visor. This could just win them the map. LG.Loyal fighting for their tournament lives. They want to push this to a third and deciding map as Rob 420 eats the Helix Rocket. He'll go down. D.Va stalling on the point. Jake carved from the rear. Now Avast, the last man standing. They're going to drop the grab. They commit all of it for the D.Va, and they will hold. So we go now to it looks like a third and deciding map. LG versus LG Bloodbath going the distance.
Again, it just came down to that Earth Shatter. We saw Super get a little bit too trigger happy on that, threw it right into the shield as it turned from Super. Really, really good play from him to be able to keep his teammates protected, and then he just turned with an Earth Shatter of his own. And that was really, really stellar play. I mean, Super just, again, a little bit too trigger happy. I imagine actually this is going to be the play right here, right at the end, and that is not going to be the case actually.
Fire Strike and a lot of hammer swinging got the job done, but
You know, for LG.Evil, that has to be frustrating. Could have closed out the series. Now we go to a third map. I mean, generally, if it's going to be tied 1-1 going into a third map, I would rather be the team that won the second, has a little bit of momentum and confidence going in. So now, kind of an interesting moment here. What is the choice of map, Hirix? Any thoughts on what you want to see? This will be Evil getting to decide.
Well, LG.Evil has certainly shown a lot of strength on a lot of the Koth maps. So I imagine, it is going to. Why do they keep saying it while I'm talking about it? I want to be right, but they keep doing it right when I'm saying it.
I heard you first, all right? Hirix shot first. It
is going to be Lijiang Tower. But again, they have shown that they have some strength on those maps. I mean, we have seen them take it to Game 5s against both Selfless and Rogue. So I think that means a lot. They already won out the first King of the Hill map, and they did it in pretty convincing fashion, if we remember, especially on Sanctum. So pulling out Lijiang Tower, I think, is the play here. And I think, given the fact that we saw Nepal first, again, that reason and that reason alone is why I think that LG.Evil has the ability to take this, because now they can, in map 3, since they lost King's Row there, they're able to take that second Koth map back out. And I just think that they have a pretty solid advantage going into Koth.
All right, LG.Evil, Loyal going to be swapping sides here as we get ready for our third and deciding map. So guys, thank you all so much for joining us. This is Overwatch PIT North. I wanted to write LG Good for some reason. LG.Loyal facing off against LG.Evil. Loser of this match is going to be eliminated. The winner will be moving on and has the tough task of facing Liquid, who looks a lot better than people thought they would with the recent roster swap, picking up Shadow 2K, has been a big difference maker for the team. Meanwhile, our other next round match in lower bracket already decided, FaZe versus CLG. So after today, 2 teams go home, and we are down to the final 6 with Selfless and Rogue, looking like they are a class above the rest here, already in the winter bracket finals and guaranteed top 3.
Yeah, I mean, looking at how everything turned out with this, I mean, when we were all kind of judging based off of the teams that made it through and how the group stage was opening up, I think everybody anticipated Selfless and Rogue to be the matchup of all matchups in terms of this tournament. More than likely was going to be the grand final, and of course the upper bracket final along with that. But that did wind up happening, so I don't think it's anything crazy to see it happen there. I think everybody expected it. But what's been more surprising is seeing LG.Evil sent to the bottom side of the bracket. Of course, it was by Rogue, but then still kind of having to battle for their ability to push through here. And now going into this matchup, I mean, even if LG.Evil wins, I mean, whoever takes this game, LG.Loyal or LG.Evil, has to take on Liquid, who I think is looking incredibly strong. And who would have thought at the beginning of this tournament, right before the group stage, with CLG barely making it through into the group stages to begin with, was going to be one of those teams that could potentially shut out guys like Rise Nation and FaZe Clan. And then Liquid being in a similar position to be able to potentially take out LG.Evil or LG.Loyal if they actually make it through. So I think it's been crazy to see what's actually been occurring at the bottom side of this bracket, because what's happening up top is actually pretty expected, I would say.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. You know, it's just an interesting time for Overwatch, especially in North America, where, you know, given what we know about the Overwatch League, a lot of teams are moving to the region, see some powerhouses coming in, like Rogue, some individual players getting picked up from Europe, you know, Shadowburn last year, and we've seen more since then, who are either relocating or full-time. NRG, IDD, QD. I think we heard NRG's possibly boot camping in Korea, but you know, eventually all these players are going to come to North America. So teams are switching rosters rapidly, switching organizations constantly. You've still got patches coming out that affect the metagame, and you know, a player like Shadowburn, who was so dominant in previous patches when Genji was kinged. Now that Genji's fallen off a bit and is, you know, not an every game staple pick, couple that with the ping disadvantage, struggling to find that same level of dominance. So really everything's in a state of upheaval for the most part, and it's an exciting time, but also a scary time for these teams. Everyone wants to play in the Overwatch League. That's the dream, but you have to have the right team at the right moment, you know, when the actual rosters are selected and spots finalized, to earn your spot there. So everyone just trying to punch their ticket. Is Overwatch PIT just one of the proving grounds we'll have over the coming months, but certainly one of the bigger ones with North American as well as European action.
And I think that's something to take note of, is just the versatility of teams, because that's going to be something that, you know, people are going to want to be looking at, is how versatile is a team, how how good are they at adapting to new patches, to changes on the fly? I mean, obviously we saw Rise Nation competing very well on the last patch, which didn't really happen for too long because we didn't see them competing for too much on the on the dive meta. But now that things have swapped over and they've been eliminated by FaZe Clan, and I don't think too much has even happened in terms of the meta at all, but still able to, or taken down by FaZe there, who have adjusted a little bit with that Lucio. Rockus making a huge performance as well. I mean, certainly I think versatility is a big factor here for these teams.
All right, well, as far as versatility goes, pretty staple vanilla stuff, at least initially. More or less everyone on their comfort heroes. We're going to see Train running the Tracer and trying to find the flank, but first onto the point is the slightly beefier composition with the triple tank of LG.Loyal, and I want to point out, Spree already at 100 energy, and now about to get the self-shield back again. So Particle Barrier ready for the next fight. He could just take over. They'll get the hook on Super, dragging him out of position, immediately removing the Rhine, but hooked in turn by Bull. This will be a big takedown. He'll find a 2, opening things up for Evil as they surge into the point. Train now, trying to find the backstab. He'll get punched and really slapped by the rifle of Oba, who in turn gets hooked. Just a chaotic back and forth fight, but Bull taking over here for LG.Evil. Already almost has a whole hog, as they will cap the point right back. 14% for Loyal, but now losing control entirely.
And Vast with a late boop there was also able to secure his sound barrier, so he'll have a pretty good start into this next one, as it is going to be Nano Boost versus Nano Boost if we see those both pulled out. And a little bit of a long engage here actually coming from LG.Loyal as Super Blue gets taken down pretty low. Nano Boost coming out, and actually Clown going to be eliminated very quickly there.
Big sleep dart though, they can follow this up, look for multiple kills. Train taking advantage, seizing the initiative as Oba Nano Visor, but nobody to help him, so he gets flanked from the left, hooked from the right, punched in the rear, and eventually brought down. So they commit the Nano Visor, they still lose the fight, and now probably potentially looking at another lost fight off of this with a pulse bomb ready, an aimbot ready for Jake to go with that Super with the Earth Shatter. From the rear comes Train, looking for the stick. He's going to find the Rhine. Big pick to start this fight.
Yeah, and that last fight with that horrific misuse of the Tac Visor with the Nano Boost as well definitely set them up right now to be able to... Oh, actually Ube coming through and able to make that play. They find 3 kills, and still, even though they made a pretty bad mistake in terms of their ult usage in the last one, they're still able to come through and make this play here, and they're going to be able to flip it back. But look at the percentage actually that LG.Evil has been able to get to. 63% here. We still see Jake with that Tac Visor charged up and ready to go, but 4 tanks for LG.Loyal to be able to secure that, as Oba actually swapped over to the Diva to try to shut Jake down there.
All right, so now LG.Loyal getting quite a bit of additional time with that stagger kill. Now going to set up on the low ground. Super starting off high, but inevitably all Rhines have to come down to earth. He jumps in, doesn't have the ult ready. Super Pluke, however, does. A big Earth Shatter. Could easily just win this fight flat out. To go with that Spree is going to have a grab soon. Super turning his shield away for a moment to deal with Spree, so scratch that. No grab for this fight. Could be a real problem. Clown sitting back, has the ultimate available. Will the Lucio opt to use the sound barrier, or do they just sack the point? Here comes the aimbot from Jake, carving up the defense of the point, and now it looks like they're going to find these additional follow-up kills. They, in the end, will lose the point. Clown did at least save the sound barrier, but capping it right back and surging forward. LG.Loyal have to get back.
They finally flip it here, and we do see 76% with Loyal able to make a pretty good show of it there. But obviously both Lucios now with sound barrier, so this is going to be a all-out brawl for this next fight, and we will see actually Spree ready to go with the Graviton. That's going to be huge, but it's going to be down to Vol to try to create some space off that Graviton to push the aggression away. And Diva should be able to eat up most of that, so he's going to be able to push them away right here. Diva going to be trying to eat up the whole hog a little bit. Self-destruction is going to be sent so far away there, LD, as the whole hog just creates that distance.
Yeah, so again, the Grav not really doing much here, unfortunately. The combinations have just not followed through. Vol on the point, they're looking for the hook. From behind comes Super, but he's being punished by the aggressive Roadhog of Ube, who just jumps in and unloads at point-blank range, finds the kill. Looking to recap the point here in overtime, and at the buzzer, LG.Loyal take it back, putting Evil probably with 1 push to recapture, and whoever wins this duel going to be winning our first stage.
I think actually we are going to be seeing a very, very slight advantage actually for LG.Evil, unless Super Pluke can actually make a big play. That's really going to be the determining factor here. If Super Pluke can land down a couple of fire strikes or even just one solid one and get his ult up and be able to make that Earthshatter play, that'll be big for them. But Jake did make a swap actually over to the Genji to try to get on here. We do see trades as Rob for 20 is taken out.
They do have a nano boost available. Ryan charging in, not going to connect with anything. Super Pluke, as you mentioned, needs to do a lot, but he gets hooked, he gets dealt with, is getting the help though now. Still has the Earth Shatter ready. Oh, but he won't get it off. Jake just comes through, slices him up, and with the Jake train in town, it looks like they should be able to recapture it. Just have to de-mech the Diva and finish off her. They will do that. Clown, likely next, bouncing along the walls, not going to be able to survive through this, so they'll kill her too. And now just desperately trying to get on the point at the buzzer. Hedon, it looked like he was there right as they scored, but just a bit too late. So Evil able to take the first stage here on Legion.
Now moving on to the second one. I mean, when it does get to... oh, I actually do like this one for LG.Evil here, as Train might actually... I mean, he's more than likely going to be pulling out either a McCree or a Soldier. However, in the last one, I mean, given the fact that at the very end they were forced to go over to the comp that you see them on right here, they might stick with this. We'll have to see, but I think historically we'd probably be more apt to seeing Train on a again a more standard hit scan on something like Soldier or McCree, but he is going to be sticking to the Tracer at the moment, and they are going to be putting Jake actually onto that that Soldier there.
All right, so Jake on the Soldier, Train on the Tracer that we saw so much of throughout the group stage and in the previous patch. Ube, though, the big switch up here, I guess, as he goes on to the Genji. Oba, instead of playing the Soldier, going to be playing the Hog, but it doesn't really seem to work out too well as Ube quickly gets dealt with. Now Train starting to work on the Ana. Can he finish him off? Has the recall ready, going to use it, but held on to it for a long time, even baits out a hook. Now surging back onto the point. Can work on Super Pluke, can potentially, and indeed will just punish Clown instead. So this Tracer having all kinds of freedom with the early Genji kill, making the most of it, securing the point for LG.Evil. Momentarily, they will start the cap.
And not only that, but they got a really late kill onto Olba there as well, staggering him. And, you know, they're going to have to wait for Olba to get back as he's very slow on that Roadhog. So they're going to be forced to utilize the Lucio to get him back over there. And now we should see about 20% on the board before this next fight even occurs. But really what happened there was Jake, uncontested, again, on that high ground. LG.Evil just so good with that. But he's going to give his position away once again. They might slide back around and try to contest him. But look at his ult charge here, LD. He's at 92% with that tac visor. Should be able to pull it out in this next one.
Yeah, Jake still holding high ground, and if they do contest him, except for the Genji, they'll have to take the long way around, which means a lot of free percentage. Much easier to assume high ground once you've capped the point or waiting for the enemy to come back. Ube, not able to do it. Here comes the tac visor. Holding the high ground, has the heal station, gets the Ana boost. Super Pluke tries to deal with him, but that's just going to make it easy for Train to come in from behind. Super Pluke ends up falling to Rob for 20 of all heroes. The Ana gets the kill. Jake on the chase, looking for the stagger follow-up. He then trying to back off as a team, but Olba ends up committing suicide, so a lot of staggering going on throughout this map, and that's just free percentage for the Evil squad.
We'll more than likely see Vol actually utilizing his whole hog to try to create some space away from Ube and Hidan, who are likely to be using that Nano Blade in the next one to try to steal this point away. Expect Ube to just jump right into the sky, try to take these supports out quickly, but a nice hook actually onto a Vast. They might not even have to do that.
They have the blade ready for Ube, try not to use it. Great poop as Clown will send Jake reeling off the stage, and he'll have some time to think about how bad his life is going right now. Now the blade's still being held in reserve, so really no ults committed. I don't think they used anything there. They'll have a full complement menu with the recap, but they'll need it because they have a long way to go to get back on the stage.
And really this next fight for LG.Evil is all about trying to deal with Ube out that Nano Blade. That will more than likely happen unless they put it onto Olba or Super Pluke. We'll have to see what that Nano Boost option is going to be, as Ube looking for opportunity to bring out that Dragon Blade, but he's taken down pretty low already here.
Yeah, meanwhile, from the rear comes the Tracer of Train, who looks for the Pulse Bomb opening. Not finding it, but he gets the Clown kill. Now, lobbing the Pulse Bomb on, direct connection on Spree, demeching the Diva. Critical pick there. LG.Evil immediately storming back onto the point. They lost 3, they get 4 heroes without ulting. And just like that, Loyal, they'll have a desperation charge just to touch it and try to force it into overtime for the recap.
And I'm wondering if Super's going to try to put himself into a position where he can get an Earth Shatter onto the back line here. He's going to go ahead and charge through and looking for an opportunity. He's going to get taken down pretty low. Not going to be able to pull it out at all as Oba actually finds that kill hit down, looking for an opportunity to go with the nano boost, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be necessary at all. And look how long LG.Loyal have been holding onto that combination. So long they've been holding Dragon Blade and nano boost. And again, I think that that's just going to add to the anticipation of just, you know, wanting to pull that out.
Yeah, they've been patient, perhaps a little too patient, but they managed to recapture without committing it, so we'll be ready for the next fight. Still, though, have to be careful that you don't get earth-shattered right as you let the blade go. But here comes the blade, swatting his way through the back lines. He'll find 2 kills with the nano boost. Should just be able to get in range of full. He'll decapitate the Zarya as well. Russian weightlifter down for the count. Genji lives too, even if he has the unfair advantage of cybernetic implant. So LG.Loyal holding, getting closer to that 99 overtime climax that we always love to see.
Definitely looking like a very close matchup once again here on this map. And Super with the Earth Shatter ready. He's going to become combating Super Pluke is able to get one of his own pretty soon, but he's actually taken down pretty low, and actually Train finds that kill to open things up. Soundbarrier coming out from these guys as well as LG.Evil already with so many picks on the board. They just need a D-Mech spree here, and they do just that. Once they find that last kill, which they do, overtime should tick down, and that will be a 2-0 in favor of LG.Evil. Super Pluke. Oh, Train dodged that.
Not enough in the end. They don't get back to the point. LG.Loyal close, but no cigar. Now down 0-2 on series point. They have to reverse all kill here, sweep them back, take 3 stages in a row. Do you believe, Curix? You sounded like an Evil fanboy, and it's not looking great for Loyal right now.
I wouldn't say fanboy. I just think that
I'm just giving you shit. But yeah, you definitely sounded like you thought Evil was going to take it.
Yeah, I definitely do think that Evil is at a little bit of advantage, especially just given the fact that it started on King of the Hill. I think they're stronger on King of the Hill, and now they can force the second map. I mean, the second map in general would have gone either way. LG.Loyal obviously had King's Row in their pocket, so I mean, Evil was potentially going to lose that one. So just again, the Nepal as the starting map was big for them to be able to close this one out. But we will see Train actually going over to the McCree here. And he's going to be trying to shut down Ube in the sky, who does not have a Mercy pocket here available.
Yeah, it doesn't have a Zen Orb either, and he gets punished for the lack of a direct pocket at all. Ends up going down early in the fight. Train's still alive through all of this, and we've seen just how much his McCree can get done. We saw it previously on the last control point map on Nepal as Train finds the flashbang, still being ignored, finding those headshots, good flick shots all around, not quite converting as many kills as what he's been capable of in the past, but still a lot of pressure done. Spree, though, the real hero of this, is he's already got a grab available, sitting at 90 energy, will capture the point, and you know that Pharah Zarya combo can be scary with a grab already ready. Normally the Pharah gets the ult first, but Spree doing the heavy lifting here.
Ube was kind of pushed away, zoned out by Train a little bit throughout that fight as Train just kind of sent him running away from that bridge side. But Spree, of course, given that nano boost that he had about halfway through that fight just to kind of close things out, was able to get a lot of that ult charge running through and getting aggressive after we saw Super Pluke taken out. And now he's going to have that Earth Shatter as well. So they have a lot of control going into this second fight. I imagine they should be able to hold this one out.
Spree going to find a big grab. They wisely don't take the bridge where the 2 heroes can knock them off the map, but the grab comes out. It's a big one. Follow-ups there. Deadeye not going to amount to much as Train tries, but he goes kaboom. However, answering back is Jake, keeping this point at least in contest. Zarya shield there for Clown, and this Zarya just too big. 100 energy. Jake really has to outplay the crap out of Spree to take it. He tries to run away. He'll get back to safety. Now Super comes in, but all the while it's still Loyal, getting percentage. That's really what they care about. Spree looking to roast the Rhine, coming back in directly behind his shield. Such confidence, even fearless play at times. Now his own Earth Shatter is available. Can be the counterplay. Does get the Earth Shatter mid Zarya shield. Wants to take the Rhine for a ride, but no! He ends up getting booped off to the side. Bow will fall just as he had his Earth Shatter ready, so he's not gonna, or sorry, his grab ready. So he's not gonna be able to unveil it in this fight. Nutty indeed, my friend. They still hold at 80% now, making a real game of it. It ain't over on Lijiang. Not yet, anyway.
Yet another Graviton coming up for Spree pretty soon, sitting at about 75%. And we do see that Barrage ready to be used alongside it.
This is scary. There's no support ult. They're also coming over bridge, but his grab's not ready quite yet. Super Pluke gonna try to charge out of that grab. 100 energy. He needs to farm just a little more. He can 180 grab, but I don't even think it's needed. The team's cleaning up, and killing everyone anyway. The celebratory grab off the edge. Would have loved to see him drop 3-4 heroes off the map, but no environmental kills this time around.
I'm kind of curious as to why LG.Evil didn't pull out the Pharah of their own, given the fact that Jake actually historically has been pretty decent in Pharah versus Pharah battles. I mean, he actually does do quite well with those, but nonetheless, we will. I think he even pulled out yesterday against AKM, who has been unstoppable in the last few days on Pharah. So it's kind of crazy to see that they actually didn't pull that out. And even Train has a Pharah of his own, but nonetheless, we will see them swapping things back over. Train going to be going over to that Tracer, and Jake going back over to the Soldier. So the same composition that we saw 2 maps ago. And a triple tank again coming out for LG.Loyal with Spree back on that Zarya. Really great performance from him in that last map there on Garden.
I would really like to see them prioritize Spree. He seems to get ignored a bit, and generally the fights where they've won have been when he gets hooked early. Vol has generally been the one to shut him down. So eyes on him as Spree. There's the farm energy here, only at 20% so far. So the hook comes out. This one not going to connect. Still the projected barrier available, but interestingly, Ube, we saw him try the Genji out earlier. Now he's over onto the Tracer, so LG.Loyal continue to mix it up a little bit with their DPS picks. Good flank, though. They turn super purple. They'll carve him up, pick him off, then Olba the one to answer with the hook of his own, really setting things up nicely to control and take this point.
Ube actually finding a lot of damage. Pulse Bomb already at the ready for this guy. He found a couple of really clutch picks, starting things off, and LG.Loyal with nice first win here on this first point. And then again, Clown with that sound barrier is definitely going to be necessary for this next one, as we are going to be seeing LG.Loyal more than likely trying to get aggressive, and Pulse Bomb going out.
Yeah, kind of fortunate there, though, as Jake scouted him running in, so probably made the call immediately. Tracer flanking and did help mitigate a lot of the damage. Beat already ready, and it will be dropped by Clown. He's done a great job at farming them up quickly. Olba going to be taking a nap. Meanwhile, Super Pluke, though, standing and holding his ground on the point. Jake finds 2, but he hasn't broken through any of these tanks. Very beefy, and now they clean up, dropping the Zarya ult, finding the hook on Train. Huge plays by Olba, ensuring this point remains firmly in loyal control. Die Sith scum, they say, as they continue to hold 50% and well on their way to forcing a deciding stage 5.
Jake actually going over to the McCree here, swap things out a little bit, but again, Spree is just has been a huge nuisance for these guys. I mean, we saw Olba all over the feed, but really it was kind of Spree setting things up. The Graviton, of course, being very pivotal in terms of controlling the momentum. And again, he's just been able to find so much energy, and he's just been pushing out so much consistent DPS for this roster. Again, Olba on the feed, but Spree is all over the place, just providing consistent DPS here.
Yeah, and Spree also with really good projected barriers, shields the Hog right as he whole hogs, and a really awkward angle to take because they walked straight towards environmental kill town where Olbo's able to shove them off the map or into the wall, just racking up kills on the back of that. They still have an Shatter ready to go at 89%. Evil, they got to go now. They do have the ult advantage, but can they find the openings they need to get onto the point? Contest is coming in. It's not recaptured yet. The Earth Shatter's there. It's a doozy. He finds Spree. He pushes the Hog out of the point, but the counter Earth Shatter quite good as well. And Super's able to clean up. Olba should be denied here. Turned purple, battered around. He says goodbye, cruel world. Jumps off the map, but actually Jake getting the last hit. So they recapture at 99, and now they got to swing it from 99 to 0 all the way back the other way if they want to close out and avoid that 5th stage.
This is such a long time to hold out on a map that can be retaken. I mean, it's nothing like Shrine on Nepal where you can just hold out easily from 0 to 100. This one's a little bit tougher to do that on, especially when you have guys like Spree getting very close to Graviton Surge, getting that high energy. You want to be able to kill Spree off as often as possible to prevent him from getting that high. And we do see Jake actually finding a Deadeye kill onto Olba, and that's going to give them a lot of space to work with, but they still need to deal with Spree here. He's still just sitting in this corner here. Graviton coming out. Jake somehow living through it.
Ube, meanwhile, not really comboing with him, but still finding kills. They continue to hold the point. A back-and-back race to the finish as Ube comes through in the clutch. He'll get multiple kills here. Now they just have to deal with the Ryan. Last man standing. Slay the Germans. Slay the Germans, say Team Loyal, and they will. They kill him off. They force us to a deciding stage 5. And if you're going to go down 0-2, take the next 2 maps, your team has to be brimming with confidence going into that 5th and deciding map.
We'll see that 5th map. Oh man, this really went very well for LG.Evil actually here, as we saw them controlling that high ground. So I definitely expect, you know, maybe a Genji to come out or someone. It looks like Spree actually going to be going over to the Diva, which I do like as well. Someone to try to deal with Jake on the high ground, because he just got way too much too early, and they just ran with it at that point. But they're actually going to be going back to the composition that's been working for them so far, and I'm questioning if that's actually going to be the best bet. And now we do see the quad tank strat coming out as well, and they did actually have a successful retake with the quad tank, so perhaps this could work out with Ube actually contesting Jake at the high ground more than likely here, and that is going to be the case. Well, this is good for LG.Loyal.
Yeah, the Lucio meta might just be coming to a theater near you soon, as the quad tanks death ball onto the point. Jake being pressured here by Ube, but doesn't really have a whole lot of backup. The healing station deployed, going to soak up all that damage. Nobody else following up, and while that's happening, they do lose Hidan. Avast finding the kill, taking a crucial healer out of the picture. When you're running quad tank, you really need your Ana alive as long as humanly possible. Still, Oba struggling to find openings here. Instead, it's LG.Evil getting all the kills. They've got a pulse bomb ready. Oba will be finished off. Actually needs to die real soon, as he's getting staggered pretty hard, but point now captured. Evil in control. Yeah, quad tank, but if you lose the Ana that fast, you're just not going to be able to take the fight.
Yeah, and I think they actually should have been able to win that. I mean, really, the big factor for trying to kill the 3 tanks up front, I mean, with Ube taken out, obviously, in a 1v1, is going to be that soldier. But given the fact that he has to look at that Diva, he's not going to be involved in the fight, you have the ability to kind of just be aggressive, push on, and more than likely win the barrier fight. But now Ube just jumping onto him again, and Jake actually going to be eliminated here, and that's going to be a 6v5 starting things off for LG.Loyal.
Huge pick, because he actually had attack visor ready. The one person who could contest and shut him down manages to do it. Ube now bumping Vol, who then gets hooked back in, will be killed as well. Train trying for the stall, going to be denied. A quick retake by LG.Loyal, only giving up 36% and doing so without any ults committed. They'll have the full complement ready, more or less, for this next fight. Aside from Spree, Grab's still being charged. He's been a bit slow to farm energy compared to the breakneck pace he set on previous stages. Jake, I imagine, trying to get around to the high ground. He's already done it, but he needs someone to touch the point. Looking for that quick pick, trying to line up his sights. Will drill Hidan, finishes him off. Huge takedown to start things off, but coming in hot and heavy, potentially, is that self-destruct. Not going to amount to much. Jake still uncontested on the high ground. Ube needs to get up there quick, fast, and in a hurry, but not doing so. This is freeing up Bull on the low ground. They're finding too many kills. Nobody contesting Jake, and he just opens things right up.
And now Ube just going to be jumping onto the point. Not going to be able to make it there in time, so they will get a really nice stagger here, as there's no reason for them to try to kill him off anytime soon. As soon as he gets too close to that corner, they will find that kill. And that's going to be Jake getting that very, very late. Again, setting themselves up very nicely to just steal away a lot of points here on the scoreboard, or at least give them a 6v5 advantage into the next fight where the Diva is taken out. And again, Jake will have so much room to work with if that is the case. And now he does have that attack visor ready with the nano boost to accompany it. Imagine they're going to want to do that, but we'll have to see. As I mean, if they do wind up using the nano boost onto him, they have to make sure that Ube is dealt with, or else that nano boost will go to waste.
Grab deployed. Will they get the big Ana grenade to follow it up? Hidan looking for the sleep dart. He turned many purple. Can they finish though? LG.Loyal looking for that clutch takedown. Train finding the pulse bomb pick, looking for more, but the beat gets dropped. The fight rages on. Clown trying his best to deal with Train. This Lucio, a surprisingly good dueler. Looking for more, though. He's only got the Rhine really to help him right now on the point, but still nobody really dealing with Train as the Ana comes back into the fray. Train still finding kills, still finding picks, keeping this point alive as they're up to nearly 99%. If Evil take this fight, they're going to win the series and knock their loyal brethren out, but Ube instead will get the pick onto Train, 96-35. And now rising the loyal way. We are going the distance.
And now Jake is in a great position to go ahead and head on up to that high ground, and if he's not contested, he's going to be in a great position. They should be able to get a retake here if they don't follow up.
You say that, but Ube hunting him. Meanwhile, he's being hunted in turn, so the predator becomes the prey. He's got to back away, and so Jake will secure high ground with the help of his team.
And now looking for that kill on the Clown, going to be able to find a lot of damage as Train and Vol already find 2 picks to start things up, and actually, those are big ones as Oba is going to be a mainstay on the point, and they're just running them over here, and it's going to be Train coming up with a couple of really nice picks, Vol closing things out as well. They get the flip, and they should get the map with it, and that should be LG.Evil taking this away, stealing it away even, as the late blink coming out from Ube is not going to be there in time. LG.Evil take it 2-1 here.
and Loyal, credit to them. They really did take it the distance, and has to be said, this is a very improved Loyal team. You know, we talked about a lot in the group stage. The end result won't really reflect it as they're one of the first 2 teams to get knocked out, but, I mean, a totally different team in terms of overall performance here compared to Carbon Series. And, you know, while that's probably not going to do much for their morale, you know, these guys are competitors. A loss is a loss, and finishing bottom 2 is, you know, pretty damn, I guess if you count the group stage, bottom 6, but it's still disappointing, but at least they have, you know, something to look forward to, some room for growth heading into future events. But for now, Evil will take it. And so, Hirix, they move on. They have now Team Liquid awaiting them, and I think, as you mentioned, Liquid is no slouch. They have looked very scary in their own right.
Yeah, I would definitely be very worried for Evil going into this next matchup against Liquid, which is something that, you know, three weeks ago or so would have seemed very odd to say. But I think now, as things have progressed and Liquid with Shatter 2K have definitely looked very solid, I think that makes a lot more sense now. And especially with LG.Evil basically struggling their way through at the moment. I mean, they've had decent performances. They certainly look pretty solid on King of the Hill as well. But really, I mean, I think Liquid is just looking very strong, and that should be a fantastic match between those 2 teams there, which historically wouldn't have been the case if Liquid hadn't stepped up in the past couple of weeks here.
So that is going to wrap things up for today, Hirix. And I guess any closing thoughts for you about today's matches or the rest of the bracket here in North America before we shut things down for the night?
Well, I definitely like the new look of FaZe Clan. I mean, going into the playoff series, they were probably on the bottom side of what was anticipated to kind of finish out for this playoff bracket. But now looking good against Rise Nation. I think CLG and Liquid both look very strong in their next series of matches. So definitely look tomorrow to see those 2 teams compete very, very well. But overall, really good performances from all these teams. Definitely really excited to see LG.Evil versus Liquid.
All right, guys. Well, now we're down to just 6 teams, and after tomorrow, I believe we're down to just 4. Overwatch PIT North America coming down the home stretch, 15,000 up for grabs, and a lot of momentum potentially as we head towards the more details being announced about the Overwatch League. I'm LD. He's Hirix. Be sure to follow him on Twitter at CTHirix and myself at LDeep with 3 E's. That's going to wrap it up for tonight, though. So thank you all for joining us. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow as we head towards the home stretch. Thanks for watching.